Hello, you, and welcome back to episode number 2. So, today we're going to talk about reducing belly fat. I wanted to talk about this one second because I knew this one was probably everybody's favorite or most wanted section of this. So, we're just going to go after it. So, I'm going to go over 3 ways that are proven and going to help you reduce belly fat. Okay? You got to stick with me to the end. All 3 of them are important. Okay, number 1, you gotta build some muscle. Okay, so building muscle will help increase your metabolic rate. It's gonna help you burn more calories throughout the day. It's gonna help your body kind of recomp and get this where you lose fat and build some muscle at the same time. So it's gonna help you do all of those things, and it's also going to require that you increase your protein intake. So increasing your protein is going to help you stay full longer. It's going to help you, again, burn more calories because protein is the highest, calorie burning macro. We all know that. And so building muscle is just such an important part of the process. There's so many other health benefits to building muscle that I'm not going to go into in this video. I'm sure you've heard me talk about them a million times, but building muscle is one of the most beneficial things that you can do to help reduce your belly fat. Okay? And specifically like core muscles too, like you need to be building your ab muscles. So focusing on like deep core breathing, like those TVA muscles, and really bringing that core set together. Practicing that in the framework of like the breathing exercises and weighted core exercises are so important. We know we can't spot reduce, obviously, but having a strong core is going to help you build muscle in other areas because you're going to be stronger. When our core is stronger, we can lift and do so much more in other areas because our core is such a big part of just our balance and everything that we do. Okay, so did I already touch that? I did. And then also, having more protein is going to leave less room in your diet for crap. I mean, obviously there's a time and place for things, which we'll chat about in a minute whenever I'm talking about specifically reducing belly fat. There's a time and place. You can, enjoy a little bit of stuff here and there, depending on how strict you want to be and how fast you want your progress to go. But having more protein will leave less room for crap. Okay. Number 2, this one I feel like is kind of goes against, how I like to kind of live my life and how I encourage my clients to live their lives, and that is reducing alcohol. So whenever you go into any kind of fat loss phase in general, you want to lose weight, I don't suggest you get rid of anything. There's a room for everything in our diets. It all comes down to calories. So if you want to have, you have to be responsible, and you can't go on 1,000-calorie bender every weekend with alcohol and expect to lose weight, because that's going to put you over more than likely, depending on what you're doing the other days. But so I do think that there is a time and a place and room for, a little bit of alcohol here and there. But if your main goal is just to reduce belly fat and you are going to be pretty strict with this, you just want to get in and get out, is what I like to call it. Whenever you're in a stricter calorie deficit, you get in and get out in 8 to 12 weeks, as opposed to if you're less lenient, then you're like, I'm good, I'll just continue this slow, steady pace for the next 16 to 20 weeks, whatever. So it just depends on your preference, but I do think that reducing alcohol when you're specifically trying to get rid of belly fat or eliminating it in your diet completely is such a good idea. Alcohol has so many calories per gram. Alcohol has 7 calories per gram. As kind of like a reference point, protein and carbs has 4 calories per gram, and alcohol has 7. Now, fat has 9, but fat is also a macronutrient that can be used for things and absorbed for things, and our body needs it. Alcohol is really, our body doesn't use alcohol. Our body doesn't need alcohol for anything, So it's kind of I hate to say it, wasted calories. I don't know. But that's pretty much where alcohol stands. And if your goal, you're really set on reducing your belly fat, there are going to be things that you're going to have to do that you don't really want to do. And if you're big on alcohol, reducing alcohol is going to be a big, big factor on if you're successful or not. And then not to mention what happens when we drink, obviously. 3 drinks in, you're like, screw that diet, hand over the queso, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know, that's just me. But your diet's out the window, after you drink. So it just makes it harder because a lot of calories are going to go to drinking. So, you know, if you're in a 1,500 calorie deficit, and you're having 3 glasses of wine, that's like 400 calories right there. So now you have 1,000 calories of food that you have to eat for the rest of the day. Like, that's not a lot, you know? So it just makes it harder. So I say reduce alcohol or eliminate alcohol completely during a like specific like belly fat. You want to reduce your belly fat phase. Okay? And then number 3, I saved this one for last because I know you're tired of hearing it, but I'm only going to tell you what's true. I'm not going to tell you what's trending and what's going to catch your attention, okay? If you listen to me, this will work. You have to be in a calorie deficit to reduce belly fat. There are no special foods that you need to eat. There obviously are foods that are going to make it easier to be in a calorie deficit. Foods that are more whole foods are going to keep you fuller longer, and that's the goal whenever you're in a calorie deficit, is to just be as full as possible. You don't want to be starving. So obviously those are, you know, it's probably a different topic for another conversation, but you have to be in a calorie deficit, period. Like, it is what it is, you know? Like, you have to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, and we know we can't spot reduce, but you have a greater chance of reducing belly fat if you put yourself in a calorie deficit and you lose weight overall, you lose fat overall. Make sure, like I said, we're keeping that muscle building up by strength training, getting your protein in, because the last thing you want to do is go into a calorie deficit phase. If you're not incorporating proper protein levels or muscle building, then you're going to lose weight, but you're not going to lose fat. So you could end up with more belly fat at the end of it, which is like worst case scenario, obviously. So yeah, you need to make sure. So how do we put ourselves in a calorie deficit? There's tons of calculators online. You literally Google calorie calculator. So many will pop up, and put in all your stuff. Be honest about it, because it's going to ask you your activity level, and you need to be honest about it. And so then take that number and you can reduce it between 250 to 500 calories. I wouldn't recommend doing more than 500 calories because that's a lot of calories, and that's every single day. So if your maintenance calories are 2,000 calories, just for simple math for me, then you reduce it by 250 to 500. So you could be eating between 1,500 to 1,750, I think. I don't know, you do the math, between those calories, and you're gonna lose weight. Obviously, the greater calorie deficit, the more weight you're gonna lose, but just make sure you're doing it in a sustainable way, that you're not just losing muscle mass. Because if you lose muscle mass while you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to end up with a higher body fat percentage when you're done, which is quite literally devastating. Okay? And then the last thing I want to say is, just make sure you are building those core muscles, because it really is important. If you want to reduce belly fat, and you want to have some kind of like tone down there, you are not going to have any tonage. You're just going to be like, probably like skin and like soft still, if you do not have ab muscles. And your ab muscles are like every other muscle. They need to be progressively overloaded to build. So if you want to have like that toned core look, like lines or anything, or abs or whatever it is your goals are, you have to make sure you're building abs. That's just a side note. But yeah, that was pretty much it. So how to reduce belly fat. Number 1, add muscle. You need to add muscle. Adding muscle. In order to add muscle, you need to increase your protein, so that's a double whammy. Number 2, I suggest completely eliminate alcohol. Number 3, you have to be in a calorie deficit. That's it. It's not sexy. It's not fun, But it's simple and it works. And guess what? Once you do it once, and once you build the habits that you need to build to live that lifestyle, you never have to do it again. You never have to do it again. Okay? I don't know if my whispering, you heard it way over there. But yeah, you never have to do it again. So let's go. Let's do it one time and let's get in and out. Okay, crush it. Have a great day. If you have any questions, comment, and make sure you come back for next week for episode number 3. Bye.